Hi, hello beautiful people. My name is Lauren and welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to be talking about my goals, organization, planning ideas for the year of 2022. So obviously 2021 did not go as I planned. If you watched my goals video for the start of the year, you very much know that none of those probably happened. I didn't even reach my reading goal, which was 75 books, because I was not reading very much at the start of the year. Now, had I been reading as much as I was at the end of the year, I definitely would have reached that goal. But with that being said, I'm taking it easy on myself this year and I'm setting my Goodreads goal to only 52 books, which is a book a week. I definitely feel that that is doable. I read about 65 books in 2021, so I think that's very achievable in the year 2022. I definitely don't want to set a goal that I feel pressured to complete or like I'm constantly running behind on. That was something that I really struggled with this year. I kept seeing that number, you're so many books behind, and I kept trying to like surpass that and I never got to it, and it was just kind of discouraging, and then it made me not want to read at all. So I think that's the best thing for me to do, set it at 52, and we'll see how much I read, and I'm going to do my best not to put pressure on myself. So I had to really face a harsh reality when I finally counted my physical TBR. I am someone who has always dreamed of having a large library. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved to read, and so I've always just wanted to collect books. It's one of my favorite things. I never thought that I would be someone who owns more books unread than they have read on their shelves. I mean, I've read a lot of books in my life, but currently the books that I own, more of them are unread than read. So my physical TBR is currently standing at 114 books. That includes books that I got for Christmas, and leading up to Christmas I went on a little trip and bought some books for myself, so that does include those books. It does not include like my digital TBR, books that I have on my Kindle, but as far as physical books on my shelves, I'm at 114, and that is out of hand. Obviously, that is wild. I definitely want to take steps this year to tackling that. I want to dwindle that number significantly, please. So my goal is to, on every TBR, have quite a bit of my physical TBR on there. I'm going to do my best not to read books that I am not necessarily interested in as far as like book club picks go. Sometimes I was finding that my interest in a book club pick was being piqued even after I decided I wasn't going to pick up a particular book anymore, and then I felt disappointed when I didn't get to it, or it would ultimately push something out that I could have been reading for my physical TBR. So I think I'm just going to really focus on that physical TBR, and obviously books that I am really excited to get to that I can borrow from my library. And another way that I'm going to try to keep my physical TBR low is I have some restrictions in place. I'm not necessarily on a book buying ban. I'm just kind of setting some boundaries for myself, basically. It's not going to apply for like anticipated reads, like the books that you see on my most anticipated when that video comes out. I'm not going to restrict myself from buying those as soon as they do come out. Obviously, it's not going to apply to like my book of the month books. I'm still going to be getting those every month. I did skip the month of January, but in the future, if I want to get a book or maybe get a couple of add-ons, I'm not necessarily going to limit myself to that. Obviously, I have a book buying budget that I'm going to be sticking within. I'm just going to be more mindful of how many books I have on my TBR at the present time, and if I actually need to be purchasing more at that time. And this restriction is also not going to apply to like cheaper Kindle reads. You know, sometimes Kindle will do Kindle deals and popular books will actually be pretty cheap, like $5 or less on the Kindle app. So I know I got like a lot like Adios on there really cheap, and there was another one, a thriller, The Last Flight, that I had been wanting to read for a while that I downloaded for like super cheap, like a couple of dollars. So something like that I'm not going to really like hold myself back from that. But like I said, it's all going to be within my book buying budget. Something that my husband and I actually did at the end of 2021 was implement a new budgeting system for ourselves. So this is something that's going to carry on throughout a whole year at this point for us. And so that's, I think, really going to help me like keep my book spending in mind, I guess, because in the past, we didn't necessarily have this conscious mindset of exactly what we were purchasing within like each of these categories that we might purchase things in most often. And for me, that was books. So it just kind of makes me more mindful of that. Something else that I'm really excited to start this year is to do one of my own reading journals. And I have had this for a while. You've probably seen it in a couple of videos where I have attempted to start my own journal, but I thought best to start with a clean slate with the new year. So I'm going to kind of do a flip through for you. Something that I'm going to do to kind of also help my TBR, physical TBR, stay top of mind. The first page I have here is a book haul page, and this page I'm going to be writing down the books that I acquire throughout the year. I have 26 spaces here. It could exceed that. I don't know. If we do, then I'll do like another spread like this, like in the middle of the journal whenever I need to write more. And then this next page is a graphic that I created on Canva, and I just made these different books here, bookshelves. And my original intentions with this was to be able to write the title of the book on the spine and then color it in, but the spines are a little too small for me to do that. So what I did was I counted the number of books that I actually have on these shelves, and then I shaded in black the number that was too many. So like the spines that you see that aren't shaded in will equal up to the 114 books that I have on my physical TBR. And I'm going to come up with a legend, a key, a color-coded key actually, that will correspond to a different star rating. And I'm going to color in the books as I read books for my physical TBR with whatever star rating I gave the most recent book that I'm marking it off for. After that, I'm going to have my monthly spread. I haven't completed those for January yet, but I'm going to have like my title page where I have the month, and then I'm going to do the days I've read, and then I'm going to do a wrap-up portion. I'm not going to do a TBR portion in the journal simply because I felt like if I did a TBR and then I did not complete that TBR, it would just not spark as much joy in me to flip back through this. I want this journal to spark joy and be something that I'm reflecting on my reading in a more positive manner. So if I go in and see a TBR that I didn't complete, I don't think I'm going to feel that way. I do have my TBR that I'll be like keeping up with each month in a different format that I'll discuss a little bit later in the video, but the next page I have is my fave book. So the favorite book that of that month, I'm going to do like a spread dedicated to that, kind of like an aesthetic spread. So yeah, that is my monthly spreads for that. I'm really excited about my book journal. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to do this each month, and we actually got a new printer so I can print the little book covers, and I just think it's going to be fun to make it look really, really cute. So as for a more specific like channel goal, I'm going to aim to upload once a week. Sometimes it could be 2 times a week depending on what kind of content ideas I have, what month it is, what I'm reading, you know, things like that. It just depends. I've never been somebody who wanted to say that I will be uploading on this day or this day, just because of my internet connection. It's not great. Sometimes videos take a really long time to upload, or I may have to use someone else's internet to upload my videos, and I seem to have a lot of technical difficulties on that front. So I do have like an idea in my head of what days I would like my videos to go up, but it just doesn't always work out that way. So I definitely would like to get into a routine of doing it once a week. I think that would be wonderful and very achievable for me because I do have a busy schedule. I work a full-time job, I have a husband, and then I have, you know, some other things that I want to do this year that I want to start on. Yeah, I also have to study for my CPA exam. That's something else that I really need to focus on this year. So yeah, I have a lot going on, but I don't want to give this up. I want to continue to do this. So I think once a week will be very manageable for me. And finally, something that I'm just going to kind of be using to organize myself is a Google Doc drive. I was previously using Notion, which you would have seen in my like monthly organization and TBR videos, but what I was personally finding was that the formatting and stuff like that just wasn't fun for me, and so I didn't like to use it as much. It's a really great tool if you do really enjoy to like play around with something like that. There's a lot of great templates out there that people have created for people to use, but it just wasn't for me. And since I'm very, very familiar with spreadsheets, I decided to make a Google spreadsheet, and I have it in a drive, and you will have seen it in my TBR video, actually, just a glimpse of it. I'm going to use it for my TBRs. I have a list of anticipated releases on there, adaptations are on there. I have a list of my physical TBR on there as well, so I have those to like check off in addition to like the coloring in of the book spines for my ratings. And then I have like a separate document for things actually related to the channel, like video ideas and like scheduling for editing and uploading and things like that. So that's something that I'm really excited about and think is really going to help me keep myself organized and put together to get content out at a reasonable time frame. So one other thing I did want to touch on was I have ideas for like other platforms. I definitely want to get back into my Instagram and upload there more often. I haven't really set a goal as far as like how often I would like to upload, but I do have ideas for reels and stuff. No promises on that, but I do have some thoughts on making content for those specifically. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to set myself like a strict goal for something like that because like I said, I already have a lot on my plate for the year, so I don't want to add too much too soon. But there you have it, guys. I'm not setting myself anything strict this year, just, you know, a few bullet points for myself. My main goal is definitely to dwindle that physical TBR. I would really love to like cut it in half this year. We will see how that goes. My January TBR actually looks great. I'm knocking off quite a few books for my physical TBR with that if I actually read them. So I'm very, very excited about that. And it would be fun to react to this at the start of next year to see how well I did with each of these goals. As always, guys, please check the description for links to my socials and other resources down there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!